I'm honored and privileged to have this young lady on the podcast because she's going to give you guys a lot of information, perspective, and more. Donna R. Middlebrooks is here. What's up, Donna?
Hey Drew, I'm so excited. Put me in, coach. Put me in.
I love it. Now, if you guys can't tell already, her energy is contagious. She's not just positive. This is who she is. So, Donna, how did you get to be so? I would say in a world like we live in today, how did you get to be so positive?
Let's see. How did I get to be so positive? Jeez, it's just a natural high.
Mm,
It's just a natural energy. We get up every day and get to decide what energy we want to put out into the universe, right?
yes.
And I just choose to be positive. I choose to be. You know what? I think I've always been like this because I recently just came from my high school class reunion, and everybody was just like, "Oh my gosh, you're still the same. Your
Wow.
energy is still the same." So, and this is I'm gonna date myself, but my 40th high school class reunion,
Wow.
and we were all sitting there like, "You look the same. Your energy is the same. Oh my gosh, you are still the same person." And I didn't think that, but I received that. So I guess I've always been this
Uh,
way. And even, as an adult, I've chosen to just like I get up every morning and say, God, what we doing today?
wow.
Let's
Well, okay,
what
so
we doing today?
with a mindset like that and approaching the day with God, what are we doing today? Do you feel that helps you in business?
Oh, absolutely. I am blessed to be able to walk in my ministry. I told you all that when I first met
Mhm.
you. I get to work in my passion area every day. Everyone has gifts and talents that we were blessed with, but we're not necessarily operating in them. And I get to operate in mine every day. I get to help people, I get to help facilitate people's largest decision in their life, or one of the three largest, I consider it, right? So I think one of the largest decisions you make is who you're going to choose to life with for the rest of your
That
life,
might be the
right?
second one.
So
Yeah.
who's your significant other going to be? I think second, it becomes when and if we're going to bring children into the world. And then the third is where we're going to land with that
Yeah.
so location. And so I get to help facilitate people living out their life dreams in the communities that they want to, in the homes that they want to, and even as we go further into building that legacy through real estate. So and I get to look at houses all day, every day, or commercial property, or throw my boots on and walk some land and
Yeah.
like see the dream.
Now, what made you choose this lane out of every any other lane that you could have chosen? Like what made you say, "Hey, I'm gonna do real estate and I'm gonna build a legacy through this lane"?
I saw it through the generations in my family. So
Mm.
uh, we lost my grandfather a few years ago at 100 years of age.
God bless. A
Um,
hundred? Wow.
100. We have centenarians in my family. So my grandfather, when he was starting to get ailing in his late 90s, like 97, 98, he just would always tell us, I'm gonna make it to 100. I'm gonna make it to his 100 because his oldest sister made it to 106.
Wow.
And so when people ask me how did I get in real estate, I said I was in real estate before the womb, before I was even in the womb, because
Sheesh.
generational um, generational ownership. And so when my cousins and I were, sitting at the repast and just kind of reminiscing, like, what was my grandfather's legacy?
Mhm.
We had three words, Drew, three, and it was own the land. That's what our
Whoa.
grandfather taught us. Own the land. He always told us to go to college, get an education. I did that. I spent time in corporate America, but I always knew to own the land. I always knew to own. So I saw my grandfather own land and have rental properties. I saw my aunts, my uncles, my parents. I was laughing with somebody yesterday. I said I used to sit in the back of my daddy's Riviera on the back seat when we were going around to get the rent, collect the rent.
Wow.
Didn't even touch nothing. My little legs was just kicking and I was sitting in the back of the car and either he or my mom was going around picking up the rent checks.
So okay, so you've seen this like literally from the womb, but what was like young Donna thinking seeing all of these transactions and things happen? Were you thinking like, "Hey, I'm gonna do this when I'm older," or was it just like, "This is just what my parents do"?
I don't know that I thought that I would actually be a realtor,
Mhm,
but I certainly knew that I had to own. Like, ownership was the way to sustaining just our level of comfort.
mm.
I did not grow up rich, but I grew up in middle class America. You know, we grew up in a house. We had a white picket fence, but we had a chain link fence. You know, and so I just knew that in the original house, I can't really remember it, but I don't remember being there, but I remember it being across the street from what my parents tell me. And from the house, they had a rental in a three-family house in
Mhm,
New Jersey. And they moved across the street when they bought the three-family across the street. And so then we stayed on the first floor and had tenants on the second and third. I remember my mom figuring out a way back in the day to make that loft into something. I know somebody ended up being up on that fourth
mm.
level. So there was somebody in that loft. And
The
then
attic
eventually
part, right?
this chick was a beast. Well, still is because my mom is still with us. But then she carved out space in the basement. And then when we moved to a single family home, of course, we maintained that home. So now all of those levels were rented. And as I watched my parents grow, my dad was an entrepreneur, owned a trucking business. I come from a family of truckers and trucking businesses. I just knew ownership. Like I knew you had to be an entrepreneur, you had to
Mm,
own, and college was never a debate or an option. You had to go to college because you had to learn how to manage your business.
mhm.
So yeah, of course, my major was business management.
Wow.
I just knew that wherever I landed to get residual income coming into my house was going to be through real estate.
Ooh. Donna, what's something with all of that that you've like learned the hard way that you wish people could understand now?
It's never too young to start.
Wow.
I tell it's never too young. I wish I'd have started even earlier as far as my ownership journey. So when I'm meeting with my young clients, I just placed a client 27 years old last Friday in her first townhome. I have
Mm,
clients young in their 20s that I wish I had started earlier to buy the first condo because I tell them it's your first house, not your last house. We're
mm,
building wealth here, we're building legacy.
mm.
So build something that yes, you can live in and be comfortable in, but it doesn't have to be the dream. Like it doesn't have to check all the
My
boxes. What
God.
it needs to check is the temporary box because you're gonna be here 5 years or less. 2 years or less if we can make this thing work right.
Ooh.
Because depending on the loan that you're in, then you just have to stay in a FHA loan for like a year and then we can move on. So I want you to be able to look at this from the rental perspective. So when my clients are buying condos or townhomes,
Mhm.
I'm making sure there's no rental restrictions because I know this getting ready to be rental because this is the first legacy
Whoa,
house that
wait,
we're
wait,
building.
wait, wait, wait. Back up, back up. Tell the people more about that because I don't think people are coming into that type of agreement thinking that there's a possibility I can rent because they might be thinking already they're not going to let me rent it out, so I'm going to just stay here forever. Tell me about that.
So that's why I come in initially looking at it from that perspective,
Mm,
right? Because we've already had a buyer consult, an investor consult. I do that with all clients. We just not getting in a vehicle and riding without any intentionality.
mhm,
So I need to understand purpose and your purpose. And if your purpose isn't there, I'm working with a young kid right now, 22 years old. His mom is like a sister mentee of mine. And he's getting ready to come out and be a reservist and coming out of the military. And so his base is different when you're a reservist. And so his baseline to start, he still gets access to a VA loan, but the VA loan is different depending on your years of service and, did you serve downrange or whatever the case. That's a whole nother
okay,
story, right?
okay.
But he's 22 years old. So he calls me and he says, Miss Donna, I want to buy when I come out. I said, cool. So he started telling me what he wanted to buy and what he felt like was affordability. And I said, let's twist this conversation a little bit. Can I plant some seeds for you? Can we talk about maybe spending a little bit more money and maybe you buy a duplex or a tri or a quad and you live in one side and we get some tenants on the other side. Maybe we buy a ranch on a basement so that we can have hopefully a finished basement and we can put a tenant downstairs in the lower level. Or we buy something that the bedrooms are split and it's large enough that you can have a roommate, two or three, whatever that looks like. 'Cause he's
Oh.
22 years old, right? But again,
Whoa.
this is his house, and what we're not going to do is operate in fear.
Mhm.
Not gonna operate in fear because you're positioned to be able to purchase.
Where
And
did that come
so
from? That where did this mindset come from that I'm gonna plant these seeds in these people so that they could actually go and prosper than just making a quick sale?
so I learned my gifts early at when I first moved to Atlanta. I'm a Jersey girl,
Mhm.
but when I first moved to Atlanta, my first home church, we did our gift assessments. And my gift areas are facilitation and administration. I get
Ah,
so much joy out of facilitating other people's gift. I get way more excited seeing you on the stage and I'm sitting in the corner like this.
Donna,
Come
those are my 2 gifts
on. Are
from
they?
that assessment.
Come on, Drew. Come on.
Those are my 2
My
gifts, yeah.
my gifts are facilitation and administration. And so for people that are very visionary, they don't necessarily know how to
Mhm,
make the map
mhm,
or design. They're just big picture way over here. And so for me, I get to come in and say, okay, well, here's the steps that we need to take to get there. And so knowing that, which a lot of people don't. So if your listeners out there, your viewers out there don't know, please go take a gift questionnaire somewhere.
yeah, yeah,
Like sure Drew can drop one somewhere,
mhm,
but take a gift, even if and of course we did ours through the church, which was a spiritual gift assessment,
mhm,
but it's still you, it's your personality. I've taken numerous personality, tests from corporate America to even when I'm in real estate to assess my personality and my learning style and my gifting
mhm.
style and my working style and all of that stuff, right? So we all know that, but do people apply it?
No, no, and it actually
Think,
helps you. I say if you know the areas you're gifted in, you know how to not manipulate, you know how to help
you know how to
people who are around,
navigate.
yeah, you gotta navigate with people who are around you and how you can actually be a blessing to them and more.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I like that.
So when
Go ahead.
I was gonna say when I can come back, like the young lady I told you I just placed on Friday,
Mhm.
she's third gen for me in that family because I have placed her aunt, who was one of my original clients from 20 years ago, in her first house, her second house. We built the third house that her and her husband and her family
Ooh.
now live in. I have placed the grandparents in the house. I have placed other aunts and uncles. I have placed the in-laws. Like that entire family has been a blessing. Like her parents, when her dad retired from the Marines and moved here, the sister said, my brother is finally moving and they're relocating to Atlanta. So I planted them in their house 4 years ago.
Wow.
And now that she's relocated to Atlanta, the dad calls me and says, she's ready. And I was like, well, let's go. So that's third generation in a family.
Wow.
Come on.
So
And I only 20 years.
it sounds like, the Bible talks a lot about, you know, um ownership, um, him giving us land and things like that. It sounds a lot more like you're not helping people just get land, but you're helping generations actually thrive. Like I'm from a generation where I've seen none of that.
Mm,
Where it's the complete opposite, where my mom did all she could or what she knew, but
mhm.
we didn't see like the houses and things like that. Like
Yeah.
we didn't think ownership was possible because of poverty. So how would you talk to somebody who's like, "Hey Donna, I've never seen that, but I'm open to learning." How could you bridge a gap with that?
I think again, the fact that I operate in my gift areas, I operate in my ministry. I tell people I'm not scared to tell you that I'm operating in my ministry.
Mhm.
And so once we're clear on that, then I think people receive the message differently
Mhm.
because I'm speaking to you. Hopefully, I'm planting seeds and you're acknowledging the wisdom and the fact, like I don't believe in coincidence, happenstance, or circumstance. Just
Mm.
think about how we met,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, just think about how we met and how you all met the person that introduced us.
Mhm. Yeah, no, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So there's no coincidence. So once we all realize that our paths were supposed to cross and intersect, then the onus is on us to figure out why. So I always tell people the onus is on why. So I know, like when you posted and said I'm looking for people, I was like, well, how sister get on? I mean, come on. Like, what? And so we have to figure out why people are planted in our
Hmm.
lives. And so when I explain it to people that way, then their ears are open differently, right? Their eyes see differently because we're now having a conversation about building that generational wealth. And what does that look like? Well, it starts here with this first seed.
Hmm.
We got to plant this first seed. And how do we plant that? And what does that look like for you and your family? Um, and nobody's ever had that conversation with them. And so I am continually meeting people through many walks of life that have never owned and never seen ownership in their family. But that doesn't mean you can't break that cycle.
And it's a
Stronghold.
cycle.
Oh, that's a cycle. So
Hmm.
you can break the cycle. Somebody gonna raise their hand, step up and break the cycle. And that's you. Tag you're in.
So you're like what I'm hearing or what I'm sensing and seeing. You're like also a midwife for people breaking cycles in this area.
So I do a lot of advocacy and volunteer work in the community. Years and years ago, I was teaching a class, or I'm sorry, I was in as a guest through JA, Junior Achievement, and we were talking about businesses, and I was explaining to them what I did. This is way back in my corporate career, so this is over 20 years ago. I was in my corporate career, and I always used to bring a puzzle in because at that time I was a project manager and managed teams of project managers. And so I would bring a puzzle in, and they were like, "So what do you do?" And I was like, "So see this puzzle? You see this piece and this piece?" I'd bring a small puzzle, this piece, and they put the puzzle together, and they said, "So?" I said, "So I see how you took this piece and it connected here, and you took this piece and it connected here, and now we have a whole puzzle." That's what I do.
Hmm.
I connect pieces. I connect. So when some people say connect the dots, I connect the
Hmm.
puzzle piece. And every piece on a puzzle is a little uniquely different. But once you connect them, once they click and you have them
Woo.
in their proper
Woo.
place, you get this beautiful picture. And so one of the little boys in the class, he said, "What do you do?" I said, "I help facilitate people's dreams." And I'm sure I didn't say facilitate
But
at
it
that
sounds
time.
amazing. It
But
sounds amazing.
so at that time, the little boy said, "So you like a lady dream weaver?"
Whoa.
I'm leaving the
Whoa.
It is. So look at my shirt,
Look at that.
Lady Dreamweaver. I have kept that for over 20 years
Wow.
because he nicknamed me. I said, "You're right. My job is to facilitate your dream. And how do I do that? How do I administer that? How do I hear your dream?" And I've always told people, if you're not ready to accomplish what God has in plan for you, don't tell me.
Mhm.
Because I had to learn to not fight for people's dreams harder than they were fighting for 'em
My
themselves.
God.
'Cause I'm such a
My
I'm
God.
like, "What? On a barbershop? Let's go. What you gotta do? You finished school yet?
Yeah.
Okay. You been looking at properties? Do you need to mentor under somebody? Let me see who I know."
Yeah.
Right? So how do we
That's
do
a
that?
hard place. That's a hard place because I put something out yesterday on social media and I said, if I give you an idea for your business and you're asking me if I give you at least 3 ideas and you don't do them, I'm gonna go give them to your competitors. And
There's that
because now like you're now saying, I want this, and I'm showing you and helping you see it is possible with some steps. It may not happen tomorrow, but there's some steps. What would you say
yeah,
what would you say in Donna's early years of getting into this? What would you have changed with the wisdom you have now versus the wisdom you might not have when you first got into this?
systems.
Hmm.
I came I mean, as a project manager, I came from systems, right? And process flows and all that. And so when I came into real estate, I was like, "Oh, I got all this freedom." You can just make up your own schedule and time and just do things the way you want to do them. And so I wish I had implemented the systems that I knew within this business,
Mm.
right? Like like I got away from Excel spreadsheets, I guess because I was burnt out on those little
Yeah.
jokers, right? And project tools, and I don't want to do that. Man, I just get to make up. I get to, not that I ever sleep in, but because I've made myself an early riser. Um, but it would probably be implementing systems and being consistent. I've always been successful in this business, but I think I could be or could have been more successful earlier had I have just done the systems and repeated them, because that's what systems are.
What kind of systems would you say you could have taken advantage of?
So spreadsheets, a CRM, as a
Mhm.
customer relationship management tool. I was probably 5 years in the game before I started like realizing that I knew my relationships were important, because one of the first things I did was I sent a blast email out, say, hey y'all, got my license. Anybody want help looking for some investment properties? Because that's the main reason I got mine. Let me know. And folks started calling me. Like, Donna, I think I want to sell my house. Oh, okay. Donna, I want to go look at some houses. Oh no, that's not what I'm doing. I'm here for the. I mean, seriously, I was in denial. I was like, no, 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 no. I'm not getting in no car, driving nobody around, looking for no houses. We're not doing that. I was totally in denial with what this looks like. I was like, no, no, no. I only got this for investments. If you want to do some investments, then we can go look at that. I can walk you through the process. And that's what we're going to do. And I woke up after my first year of business, and I had checked all the boxes from my broker. And I was sitting in this awards luncheon, and I was like, so how did this happen? How did I get here?
Wow.
And I mean, at the special dinner, at the special table for those that have done it in an accelerated, you know, pattern. And I'm like, hmm,
Wow.
okay, well, maybe there's something to taking people around in cars. Maybe there's something to embracing this a little bit, and I've always been hungry for education. And so for me, I soak up data as much as I can, because I believe a lot of times we're in rooms that other people will never be in.
I like that.
And if my gift is facilitation and administration, I'm in this room. I'm sitting here on this podcast with you to help trigger something for somebody else.
Mhm.
I'm a
Mhm.
conduit, as Pastor tells me. He's like, Donna, you're just like a conduit. I'm here to receive the information for it to flow through me to get to you,
Mhm.
because you have been in that room.
That's the beauty of it because we were just talking about something I had also put out about breaking generational curses, and we don't realize you're not gonna break it without a conduit. Like, you're gonna need
Yeah.
somebody to give you some type of information, a seed, a door to be opening. So to hear, like, to see a conduit in action is amazing because right now we kind of see people gatekeeping. Like, they don't want to give information, they don't want to help, they just want to keep it all for themselves. And you're saying, I'm a conduit. Like, I'm getting information for me, but it's to come through me to somebody else.
I am very clear that um that what God has for me is for me, and what he has for you is for you.
Hmm.
So this client of mine, my tribe, you, my tribe,
Hmm.
you my tribe.
Hmm.
God signed you for me. And I'm good with that. What other people need to recognize, and if that's truly your assignment, then you shouldn't have to worry about folks going nowhere else. Anybody that leaves my tribe wasn't supposed to be in my tribe anyway, and I'm okay with
That's
that.
it. That's it.
And also come back, because they're like, oh, I thought the grass was greener over
No,
here.
that's fake grass.
But what? And that's okay. I'm okay with it, because you hurting yourself more than you hurting me.
Yeah.
So I think that's that whole perspective thing. I I'm good.
Hmm.
I'm good with the tribe that I'm blessed with. I'm good with the assignments and the responsibilities that I've been given. And we're gonna push forward with that.
Love it. Have you ever have you ever got burnt in the industry?
I don't I would say no.
Okay.
Have I learned lessons over the years? Have I been disappointed? Um, but I'm blessed enough that my dad taught me early on. He said, Donna, he said, and this is something I guess because my dad got burnt. And so he taught me, he said, Donna, you will always, I have high expectations of people.
Mm,
And one thing he taught me was you cannot expect people to be you. You have to accept people for who they are. Because
mhm,
I used to get my feelings hurt because I'm thinking, well, why wouldn't they do this? I would do this for them. Why wouldn't they do
mm,
that? I mean, I'm going down four flat tires, like I'm on the team. But everybody is, that's not their personality. And I was expecting them to be like me. And so I was fortunate enough to, that was one of the last lessons my dad taught me before I lost him. And I have held on to that, that I accept people where they are. I have a auntie that tells people, she's been in HR forever, retired now, but she used to tell us, um, people are operating at their capacity. If they had a desire to operate above that capacity, they would. And at the point that you come into their life
mm.
and give them an opportunity to operate above their capacity, and they choose not to, that is their God-given right and choice. And
Ooh,
so when that choice, you got to be okay with it and allow them to go through the consequences of that choice.
ooh, my lord.
But it's hard though for those of us that are facilitators and administrators,
Mhm.
right? It's hard because you want them to be successful, you want them to succeed. Like I want you to live your best dream,
You don't. Not at the
but you
moment.
don't.
Not at the moment.
And I have to be okay with that because we get burnt out.
Mhm.
We get burnt out trying to help you facilitate your dream. And you're not even ready for your dream yet. And I'm sitting here wondering, like, what am I doing here? And I had to pull up.
How
I
do
had
you
to pull up.
how do you now, with having years in the game, years of spiritual wisdom and natural wisdom, how can you now point out if somebody's ready for their dream or they're just talking?
You already said it. If I've given you, and this I guess is the unbiblical side, right? Because the Bible tells us. But I'm like, my mama used to, my punishment used to be, we played baseball, which I hate the sport to this day. Because it was like you get three strikes, you get four balls and you get three strikes, and then punishment coming, right? Which is probably why I do not like this game to this day. And so if I've given you, your three strikes and your four balls, and you still, that's seven. Seven is completion. I've given you seven opportunities and you still ain't grab a hold of nothing. Let me move on because there's somebody out there that is going to move.
It's going to move.
I have mentees from when I was a Girl Scout leader that are doctors and lawyers and just, they share with me on Facebook or share with me through those that I still have communication with, things that I planted I didn't even know I was planting. Or you know how you get that random message from somebody and you just like, I had no idea I had this impact. So for me, I have learned to just keep pushing through because it may not be you. I'm hoping and wishing that it was you, but if it's not you, I'm gonna be okay with that.
It's a that's a statement that I'll say this. That's a statement that I wish more women of color could accept. And I say that because in any field I've ever been in, the majority of people who I've worked with have been women of color. And they've been the most burnt out by trying to
Absolutely.
help people
Hmm.
who have shown they don't want the help at that moment.
And it's not even that they don't want the help, and so that's why when my aunt kept telling us, and we throw it back at her all the time now, they are operating at their capacity. You're wanting them to operate at your
Ooh,
capacity,
ooh,
and that's the mistake. Because here's the thing, everybody has a capacity level, everybody has a gift level or whatever it is. And if they're operating at their full potential and they're happy, accept they're happy. Because everybody has a role to play. Like I'm gonna need the clerk at, I don't really eat fast food, so let's say
at Publix.
Five Guys. I'm gonna need somebody to be flipping them fresh burgers at Five
Yeah.
Guys, right? Because I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna need the plumber to come and plumb, and fix whatever issues I have. I'm gonna need the electrician to come. And so this mindset that everybody has to go to college. No, everybody doesn't have to go to a 4-year college. Let them operate in their gift area.
Mm,
If that's the gift area, because I'm gonna need the plumber, the electrician, the mechanic. I'm gonna need all of them because that ain't my lane.
yep. Yep.
We all are dependent upon each other for something. We couldn't have got on this podcast without somebody else creating all of this for us.
Yeah.
These tools, resources, the clothes we have on,
Yeah.
because ain't nothing at home seamstress like my grandmother used to be back in the day, making her own patterns and creating all of our little dresses and stuff. Ain't nobody doing that.
Oh,
Now I do have friends whose daughters are designers, fashion designers,
but
because that's their gift
that's their
area.
giftings.
That's their giftings. And I can say, so and so, I would love a jumpsuit made like this. Can you make me one? Yes, Miss Donna. Thank you very much.
Hmm. It's the why do you think people struggle, or why do you think there is a struggle to accept people at the capacity that they want to work on?
I think for those of us that are success driven, whatever success is for you, and that's a whole nother conversation too, right?
Hmm.
Because success is not the same for others.
Not at all.
Like success for me does not mean I have to be filthy rich, right? And for some people it is.
Hmm.
So understanding and accepting people for truly who they are and why they're in your lives, um, I wish more people would learn it. I really do. I don't I We struggle, I think, with what my dad said, which is we want people to operate at our level. We struggle with that, and that's not who they are. They're not you. You
Not
are
you.
uniquely you.
They're not you. Now, does
They're not you.
does Donna have uh, a mentorship program where she teaches other realtors to come through the ranks, or do you have anything of that nature?
I do. I had an amazing mentor who I am still very close with. She mentors me. We talk once a month for accountability. And I do the same with other realtors.
Nice.
Uh, as far as mentoring coming into it, I have a 8-week program. It could be longer. Let me say it's a 3 transaction program. How about that?
Okay.
I try to get you through your first 3 transactions. It can be longer than that, but I want to make sure that you understand the tools and the resources that are available in our industry. I want to make sure that you're educated and informed for your clients, because we have too many people that don't know how to explain um, that part, right?
That
So I
part.
need you to yeah, I need you to understand the difference between a ranch home, a ranch on a basement, a two-story, a split level, a cottage home. I need you to understand that. I need you to understand the areas that you work in. If you're going to be in a niche, like I'm a military daughter, military spouse, military cousin, sister. I mean, so much that military is one of my niches, and so you need to talk the language. Like you need to know the acronyms. You need to know the difference in who says hoorah, who says hooah. You know, that kind of stuff, right? Um, so understand just be proficient
Mhm.
in your area. And unfortunately, we get a bad rep because there's so many people in the industry that are not educating themselves and staying informed with what's going on. So like even for my mentees, every day you got to read 20 minutes of real estate. Like take
Oh.
20 minutes at the beginning of your day to read some articles, read something either in your niche or read something in the industry, understand what's going on with the rates, you know, build those relationships and partnerships so that you can tap into somebody. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, yeah, that part, that part.
That's a that's that's pivotal because I think, well, we know if you don't stay relevant in your field, you can be out of it within a year.
And you will be out of it.
Mm.
In whatever industry you select,
Mhm.
you should have a mentors and accountability partners. I have
Mhm.
accountability partners within the realms of my wheel. I operate on a spiritual wheel. So with that, I have a personal and a professional one that like my circles, my business circle, my financial circle, my educational circle, my personal circle, my spiritual circle.
Mm.
So and recognizing back to your other point that one person can't be accountable for all of those circles.
No, no,
And so many people want one person. They pick, oh, my best friend's gonna be my accountability partner.
no.
But best friend be your accountability partner in all of those areas? And do you want to put that pressure on that person?
And do they have the capacity to actually help you be accountable? I used to always tell people when I was deep into the fitness world, stop asking your best friend to be your workout partner. They're
Correct.
gonna be the first person to let you know you can slide today. You had a long night.
Yeah, like my prayer partner who I was just telling you about earlier, she's my accountability for fitness because she's a beast. So not only is she a prayer partner, but she a beast. I'm like, oh my gosh, if she got up and I got to go.
Yeah.
I gotta get up. So when we talk every Friday, how often did you work out this week? What did you do?
Mm.
Did you like,
Mm.
but so even though she's my prayer partner, she's not necessarily she's not my spiritual accountability partner, right? But she is my fitness accountability partner,
Mhm.
and we have some prayer time. And so you need people like, how can I expect my fitness accountability partner to push me in business when she's not even a business owner?
She's not a business o I think that's where we get it wrong, though.
She's not even a business owner. And I tell people also, I said, so when you're talking about legacy building and wealth building, I need you to have wealth.
Mm.
Like my wealth accountability partner is a multimillionaire
They should not be
because,
lower than
right, how you gonna teach me to be a millionaire if you're not a millionaire or a multimillionaire? If you're not one,
'Cause
you
you're not
know,
teaching
like
anymore, you're guessing.
you're guessing. You are regurgitating what you read in a book somewhere.
Mhm.
And not necessarily applying, and that's good. Book knowledge is good. Give me the references. I'm gonna read the books. I'm gonna listen to the podcast. But ultimately, I need you to be at the level I'm trying to get to because you've got the roadmap. I just need to duplicate that. But if you learning along with me,
No, we're friends, we're not
exactly, we're friends. We're friends. We not you we not we no, I don't need friends on this trip. I got friends.
Yeah, I need
Friends.
pushers or people who are gonna help me. What would
Correct.
the last few questions, what book would you recommend to someone who says, "Hey, I wanna really get into legacy building." What book would you recommend to them?
So I give a couple of books out to my clients depending on their personality.
Okay.
Um, The Richest Man in Babylon.
That's an amazing book.
It's such a simple read.
Amazing book.
I give it out to all of my first time home buyers.
Mhm.
The Richest Man in Babylon. So Richest Man in Babylon, if it's a person that's an entrepreneur, there's a book called The E Myth.
Michael Gerber,
Um,
Michael Gerber, yeah. I love that book.
right. And so you read the E Myth. Oh God, I'm sitting here looking at my bookshelf, right? Like, my top go-tos would be those 2. I have another one that is a marketing book. I can't see it from here, so I can't think of the name of it, but it's a marketing book that pushes you on the different segments and stages of marketing, to just make sure you're covering all of the sectors.
Mhm.
For some reason, it's escaping my mind right now, but
You know who it's
yeah.
by?
Uh, I'm looking, I'm trying to see it. Imma give it to you. You'll have it so you can drop it
Alright.
with I'll make sure you have it. I can't see it right now. For some reason, it is total. I don't want to go off camera.
Yeah.
It's totally escaping my mind. But I'm looking at the side cover of it right now. Duct tape marketing. It's called duct tape
Oh,
marketing.
I never heard of that one.
It's duct. I can't see the author, but it's duct tape marketing. So those are my top three: The Richest Man in Babylon, The E Myth for entrepreneurs, and duct tape marketing for anybody that's creating a brand.
Mhm.
It's an old book, but it talks to you about the different segments in regards to making sure. And you know what duct tape does? Duct tape just sticks and holds everything,
Mhm.
right? And when I tell you, yeah, it's my go-to book. I mean, it's got so many tabs in it and highlights and yeah,
Yeah.
also,
The oldest but goodies gets it in.
yeah,
Richest Man
yeah.
in Babylon is an older book. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that book is ancient.
What would you say
Yeah.
our last question for the day? Okay, Donna is on a stage in front of 20,000 people. What's the message that she leaves with these people? It can be spiritual, entrepreneurial, relational, whatever you want it to be. But there's 20,000 people sitting there, edge of their seat. What's the message that you give them?
If you are not operating in your gift area, you are selling yourself short.
Mm.
You must operate in your gift area because your gift, I had a deacon tell me many years ago, your gifts and talents are what God has given you to operate in this life. And if you don't operate in that gift area, not only you're doing yourself a disservice, you're doing your community a disservice.
Mm.
Because we all are dependent upon each other. So when you operate in your gift area, whatever that is, I think the old adage is about if you work in your passion area, you don't ever have to worry about hating your job and working another day
Mhm.
because it's not work,
It's
right? You
passion,
love what you're
yeah.
doing, and so it's passion area. So operate in your gift area because your gift area will take you to the successes of your dreams.
Now, Donna, please tell me you have your own podcast.
I do not. You know what? I keep saying I'm going to do one. I just love chatting with everybody else. I feel like, yes, I could bring people, and I have done podcasts over the
Mhm.
years. Um, I don't know. I may do another one. I mean, it's been kind of in the back of my mind, but I feel like I literally just reached out to another friend that was at the high school reunion and said, "Hey, I want to get on your podcast." Right now, I want to get to your audiences and share like
I love it.
if you haven't been thinking about this, you need to be.
You know what?
So
You
I
know what though? I respect that. I love that. But I would love taking a 10-minute drive and hear Donna give some nuggets about life and generational wealth and legacy, even if it's like just 5-minute podcast episodes. Because
I'm gonna take that and do that. I'm gonna take that
because
and receive.
I think we can get so overwhelmed by the subject, and like our podcast is hard to listen to for most people. Like you and I
Mhm,
probably could, because we love learning. But
mhm,
just hearing like a 5 to 10 minute, like just packed with nuggets, real life nuggets and
mhm.
stories once a week, I think that could be amazing.
I received that. I received that because I do. I've done different variations. I've joined. I think I don't think. What I believe right now is part of my value is being able to get the audiences that I would never be in front of.
Mhm,
And so that's why I enjoy participating on others' podcasts
mhm.
because your audience is not my audience,
True. Yeah.
right? Someone else's audience. Like today, I could throw on a hoodie because I was like, Coach Drew, put me in, put a hoodie on, But I was on a podcast last week and I had to dress up professionally with my little cute dress on and
Yeah.
look like a professional realtor. So I'm enjoying being able to show the many facets of
I
Donna
love it. I love it.
because I love being a chameleon and just fitting in because the message is for everyone to
Mhm,
hear.
mhm.
And so Drew's audience is different than the audience from last week and different from the audience I'm gonna be on next week.
Yeah.
And if I can drop a nugget that some of your viewers come back and be like, that Donna, she done lit a fire in me, and you come back and say, Drew, you come back and say, Donna, I got 3 calls and they told me they getting ready to start their business or they
Look at
getting ready to
that.
buy some
No,
real estate.
yeah, absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? Then that's my joy.
I love it. You guys are witnessing, you witnessed through this episode, a woman working in her giftings. Donna, where could they follow you at if they wanted to follow you on social media, or they wanted to actually do business with you? Where could they do that at?
Yeah, so it's on Instagram and Facebook. I'm Donna Sells the Dream. So Donna Sells the Dream on Instagram and on Facebook. It's just my full name on LinkedIn, Donna Middlebrooks. I think it says Donna Shaw Middlebrooks, my maiden name, because so many people know me by my maiden name.
Mhm.
So I think it says Donna Shaw Middlebrooks on LinkedIn, and then email me, DM me, text me, call me. My email is Donna R Middlebrooks at gmail.com. That's Donna R Middlebrooks at gmail.com. And yes, I still give out my number.
I
So
love it.
770
I love it.
314 6059. I answer the phone. I always said they'd be like, "Oh my God, I'm surprised you answered the phone." Well, I'm in real estate. I need to answer my
I gotta
phone because I
answer.
never know what. Yeah, I gotta answer the phone. So, and if I can't talk, I don't answer the phone. Leave a message, leave a text, and I'm gonna get back to you.
I love it. Well, Donna, it was my pleasure having you. I'm pretty sure we'll talk again, and we'll make sure people get to learn and do business with you. So thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for the invite. I am so excited to be on Coach Drew's show. Y'all, this man is a wealth of wisdom
Oh, thank
himself.
you. Thank
So
you.
I thank you. It has been an honor and a privilege to be able to share with you.
All right. We'll see you later, Donna.